Ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. Mantalk Productions here, and as you can see today we are doing a first look video of the A2A Simulations T-6 Texan. It was just released yesterday, and I had a fly yesterday with it. I took it up and threw it around the skies, and yeah, basically kind of... I didn't crash, to my credit. I didn't crash that time. I haven't crashed it yet. But these are early days. The T-6 Texan here by A2A, it is a fascinating aircraft. It's so beautifully modelled, as I've already come to find yesterday in flying it. And also just today in preparation for this video, I was reading through the manual, and guys, even if you don't plan on getting the copy of the A2A Simulations T6, I would recommend just going to read the manual on the forums. I think they've posted it up there. Posted a link to the manual. You can read it for free without actually having to download and install the aircraft and buy it. You can just go read the manual, and I actually recommend, guys, you guys need to just go read the manual, even if you're not going to get it, because one of the things which kind of show A2A Simulation to be a step above other people is the passion that they have for the work that they do. And I think in this particular release, that passion really comes out in the depth and the level of detail that is in the manual. If you want to know anything about this aircraft, about how it flies, when it was designed, what types of variants were designed, what role it played in World War II and in the training of military pilots, you pretty much basically don't need to look any further than the manual that they've produced for this aircraft. That is one incredibly reflective nose cone, my goodness. Moving on. So yeah, I've been reading it, and particularly for those of us who love the history of aviation, it's a fantastic read, and you get a lot of detail, a lot of information. It also comes, of course, with full checklists that they've produced in the manual, which I will be referencing in all of the videos that I shoot of this aircraft. I've just been flying around the external model now. We are in Parry Sound in Canada. I was thinking of doing this in the UK with the UK livery that they produced, with the British livery, but I thought this just looks nice. Look at that, United States Air Force. Ha 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 ha. So, yeah, I've been pretty busy. I was actually in the middle of kind of shooting another video in the 172, but I thought, this is here. Let's just jump in this and see what's going on. So that's kind of the external model. You can see I've been going around. They've got like a little oil can that hangs from the front here. I'm not exactly sure what is the significance of this hanging can of oil. Maybe it kind of helps in some way. I'm not quite sure how, but I will find out. Oop, a little bit close. But yes, look at the detail down in the struts there. Excuse the clipping, I'm just going close enough so that you can see up and see. Look at the detail of the texturing up inside there. Like, this is so beautiful. So yeah, we're going to be doing a first look video. We're going to be starting this beast up, taking it for a spin, and hopefully not dying. This is technically classified as a warbird, so yeah, dying is a very real reality, ladies and gentlemen. So without much further ado, let's jump into the cockpit and start looking in greater detail at this beautiful bird. Okay, here we are, ladies and gents, in the cockpit. I'm actually at the moment sitting in the instructor's seat, which, as you can see, is the rearward cockpit. Let's just open the window. Can I open the window? No, I have to open it. I have to open the canopy from... Oh, is that it? Oh, there you go. Ah, there you go. The sound set, the sound modelling is fantastic. This being, of course, an AcuSim aircraft. All of the sounds are driven by the physics, and of course all the physics are driven by AcuSim, and that is definitely going to play its part, as we will come to see. Let's just go to the front cockpit. So this is generally where the trainer would no, sorry, not the trainer, the trainee would sit. The trainee's cockpit, as you can see up in the front, has the full set of controls, and if we go back to the instructor seat, he has slightly less controls, but then again, he doesn't really need absolutely everything. Since he's the trainer, he knows exactly what's going on, and if there's a switch, say over here, that needs to be switched, he can tell the trainee to do it. So let's just go over our controls. Let's see, we've got generally the normal ones that we would expect. We've got our 6 very important ones. We've got airspeed, we've got attitude, we have altitude, we have our slip and roll, well, yeah, slip and kind of aerodynamic drag, and our rate 1 and rate 1 turn to the left and to the right kind of thing. We have our heading indicator and our vertical speed indicator, manifold pressure, RPM. This is going to be our, yeah, that's going to be our temperature, electrics. See our oils, our T's and P's, as you can see here, cylinder head temperature, very, very important. And of course, this is all kind of stuff that you would be training on and learning what happens in an aircraft like this, so that you could then in World War II go on to fly a P-51, a P-40, or a Spitfire, or something like that. So let's see down here, we've got our flap indicator, we've got a fuel indicator, landing lights. That is our, I think that's fuel hydraulic pressure, that's correct. And over here on the left hand side, we've got most of our controls that you would imagine that you'd find. Let's see, we've got our throttle right there, we've got our pitch, and our mixture right there. And then of course we've got elevator trim, we've got fuel, a manual fuel pump there, because of course the tanks on the aircraft, I have read in the manual, are actually apparently designed to feed the engine even when the plane is inverted. But if anything goes wrong, of course you've got a manual fuel pump there as well. That is a landing gear lever. We've got flaps, we've got a fuel selector valve there, or fuel selector right there. And we've got a plethora of controls over here on the left, on the right hand side for our lights. These are kind of our instrument panel, cockpit lights. We've got autopilot, audio, and of course we've got our yeah, whatchamacallsums. If they're out, I can't remember the name of them. My word, it's going to come back to me. I know exactly what these are and what they do. I just can't remember the name of them right now. Circuits, circuit breakers. Thank you, you man in the back there who is listening in on my YouTube channel, 2,000 miles away, screaming at the screen. I know that I was listening to you. So, as moving on, we can see these are ventilation, which is pretty cool, right there. Hot, cold air. I love it. And here, of course, is our primer and our engine starter. We're going to get set up in just a moment. Let's just have a zoom in on this. The detail that they produce in their aircraft is fantastic. Even when you zoom in, you're not going to get terribly pixelated. I mean, obviously, if I'm zooming that far. But moving on, let's keep on track here. Got a clock. Well, these are our mags. Let's see, that's our acceleration. Yeah, that's our G's. Oh, well, that's cool. I mean, I have gone over these controls initially, but I'm still getting used to everything. But it is very much kind of P40-ish, Mustang-ish, Spitfire-ish kind of thing. This is one of the classic trainers. So let's just pull up our notes. Let's go Shift 2, Shift 3, Shift 4. Shift 5 is our map as normal. Shift 6 is our quick radios, which is really cool. Shift 7 is our maintenance hangar. Let's have a look at this. Let's go into the engine. As you can see, we have a Pratt & Whitney R1340AN1 radial engine. And you can see you can replace all of these different engine components at will, as you would expect in an A2A AccuSim aircraft. Let's do a compression test. And as you can see, this being a brand new aircraft just off the factory floor, all of the cylinders fire perfectly well. Oil change, Let's just leave it on 100 AW oil there. And the spark plugs, we can change between massive and fine wire. I am very conscious that this kind of aircraft, there is a lot of people out there that know an awful amount more about this aircraft than I do, so I'm just going to put that right out there, that there are lots of mistakes I'm going to make, but that's kind of the fun of getting to grips with a new A2A AccuSim aircraft, is that you learn about it a lot. And it's got so much detail in these things that that you do get to know the aircraft, you feel. You can replace the canopy. Let's just get rid of these for the moment and go to an outside view so that we can see. Let's just go to the cockpit. That's a good view. Right. So you can see over on the back hand side there, you've got a change in the cockpit. That curve, I like that curve. I don't particularly like that. That's more of a classic. You can see what those changes do. Just adding more struts into the canopy, less struts in the canopy, and then that nice dominess right there. You can also see that you can take away and replace the nose spinner. The incredibly reflective nose spinner, I may say. And you can see the lovely markings on the prop there. Oop. Look at the detail of the cylinders, the massive radial engine. Look at the beautiful texturing going on in there. They've done very good work. And boom. And then of course, I didn't show you in the back there, there is a variation of antenna covers here that you can replace. You can not have one at all. You can have one with a string, and you can have a more modern one without a string. I quite like the string one. That's looking very kind of Dauntless dive bomber-ish kind of string. Antenna cable there. I quite like that. Oh, beautiful new aircraft. Right, let's just go through some things here. Control lock. Let's go inside the aircraft to see how that would... okay. So that's how you take the control lock off. Let's go take wheel chocks out, tie downs away, oil clean kit, let's take that out, and let's take off the pitot cover at the end there. So that's that. Let's jump back into the aircraft. Now let's go shift 2 and just have a look at the notes here. Notes: prime 5 strokes before starting, check oil temperature before run up. That's before you apply too much power to the engine. Idle under 1000 RPM with cold engine. And our engine, of course, is going to be cold because this is in cold and dark state. Max flap extension speed 125. Max gear extension speed 150. Approach speed with flaps up at 100 miles an hour. Another cool thing, if I move a little bit further to the instrument panel here, is if I bring back this here, is it this one here? Yes, it should be. Should be this one. You can select, there we go, airspeed in knots, or airspeed in miles per hour, you see. So this is all accounting for the fact that you can fly the T6 in a very classic vintage style, or you can add little updates to the airframe and to the controls to make it, to bring it in line with a more modern day classic. So there is a slight difference there. That's cool. I'll leave it in knots just for now because I'm a little bit more familiar with knots, but as we dig into the aircraft later on, I'll put that back. So gauges, position, floor. I tried looking, maybe that's something to do with... Yes. That is to do with the fuel, I believe. Let's just recenter my view. Gauges on the floor. Yeah, so that gives you fuel gauge position. That shows you 61 gallons or 231 litres. So that shows you the gallons. Yeah, there we go. Okay, in both tanks, that's cool. Okay, we're getting fogged up a little bit, so let's just crack the window, see if that helps. So far, let's just turn our landing lights off because that'll drain the battery. We have a generator on. Let's go put the GPU on. Do we have an external model for the GPU? Oh yes, we do. Check that. That is nice. Oh, let's just. Oh, that's so cute. Look at that little generator. That's cute. Does it actually say? What does it say on the back there? Anything in particular? Can you actually? No, you can't. That is really cool though. Does that actually? Nope, it doesn't. Okay, no clickables, but very cool. Well modeled. Well modeled. Oh, I like the little. See, this is like lovely little details. See the little like wear and tear on the handles. You can see that GPU has been, grabbed by ground crew and shoved into position and kind of dragged out of the way over and over and over and over, and that cable just disappears off into the distance. Little difference here. You can see, and I'm just like going into absurd amount of detail here, but in previous, like the 172, the cable, the fuel heater cable actually just goes along the ground to a certain distance and then just stops. It just stops. So you can kind of see that it's not actually attached to anything. But this here, you can see it it fades away into the ground gradually, which is just a nicer looking effect. Okay. Okay, back in the aircraft. Yep, so we cracked the windows, and in true AccuSim style, the condensation has gone away. Right. I want to be thorough in this first look video, but I don't want to be too thorough. So, since we will be, let's have Heidi as my. Yeah, let's have Heidi as my trainer. She's going to be teaching me how to fly today. So. There you go. That's the external models for crew in the aircraft. Very good. And also, wow, that's a bit overblown out there. Let's just bring that back. Also, if we go back to, sunglasses. There we go. And headsets. There we go. Let's put the headsets on. Okay. Starting. Upon entering the cabin, turn prop 9 blades. Okay. This is to do with the actual starter. Landing gear lock indicator aid disappears after touchdown. Landing gear lock indicator disappears after successful lock. No gear lock aid. Okay, I'm just going to roll with no gear lock aid because that's what I did last time. Well, yesterday when I jumped in here. But hand prop, there we go, that's... We're turning the prop. That's something about that so satisfying. I loved doing this in the Cub as well. It said about 9 turns. So that's probably about 9 turns right there. Okay, let's bring that back. Yeah, turn prop 9 blades. Remove chocks, tie downs, and pitot cover, which is what we've done. Controls are unlocked. As you can see, we've got full... You listen to the creaks there. Very good. Seatbelts, shoulder harnesses on, flaps are up, fuel selector on desired tank. Let's put it on, let's say left wing, right wing. Let's leave it on left wing for the moment. Trims, neutral. Yeah, trims are pretty neutral there. Yeah. Oh, landing gear. Yeah, trims there. 0 and 0. Yeah. Fuel selector down. Trims, gear switch is down. Yeah, gear switch is down. Radios are off. That's fine. All electrical switches are off. I haven't turned anything on yet. Autopilot's off. We don't have the autopilot installed at the moment. Circuit breakers are in. Thank you, circuit breakers. You elusive things, you. That's what I was trying to remember. Okay, engine start. This is where it's going to start getting really crazy very quickly. Let's just make sure our parking brake is on. Pretty sure that's the parking brake on. Bum ba bum bum. Push to test. Oh, what are they? Lights. Yeah, that's our lights. Okay, check prop has been pulled 9 blades. Yeah, we just pulled them. Fuel selector desired tank. Throttle 1/2 inch-ish, like there. Mixture is rich. Prop full decrease. I read this in the manual. Battery. Let's turn our battery on, which is right there. Okay, prime 5 strokes if cold. 1, while I drink some tea. Sorry. 2. Gotta let an Englishman drink his tea. 4. Just bring the camera view out again. And 5. I just put my tea behind me right there. Okay. So that's 5 strokes. Let's close the cap. Bum ba bum bum. Start engage. Woo! After 4 blades, turn mags to both. Right. So we're going to hit the starter after the blades turn 4 times. After we see 4 blades, we turn the mags from ignition off to both. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, both! Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Slowly prime. 1 to 3 strokes. Here she goes. Let's just watch. No! Don't die on me, baby! Okay. Oh, no! It appears that the I had turned the parking brake off when it was actually on. That was my mistake. Okay, so... Oh! Whoa, baby, no baby, don't do this. Don't do this to me. I'm recording you on a video. That should be fine. Okay, let's slowly bring... Obtained 5 to 600 RPM. You said prop full decrease, so actually I'm going to keep that fully decreased. Obtained 5 to 600 RPM and check the oil pressure. Oil. Oil is not in the green. That is not a good thing. Oh, actually no, that's the oil temperature. Oil pressure. Slightly too... Okay, let's bring the RPM, let's bring the propeller up to max now. And the engine does like to jump around a bit. I don't like that oil pressure. I do not like that oil pressure. And temperature is 19 degrees Celsius. Okay. Generator. Where is my generator? There you go. Generator on and avionics on. Okay. Yeah, okay, oil pressure's coming down, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Okay, warm up and pre-taxi. Oil pressure, 40 psi. When it gets to 40 psi... if it's greater than 40 psi, prop increase, which is what we did. That's lovely. Okay, radios are on, that's fine. Transponder is on out. That is correct. Heading indicator select. Let's just realign our altimeter and our heading indicator. We have no heading bug, by the way, so whenever you turn this, it just selects the heading. So what we would do is we would go to our magnetic heading, read 85, and then just set 85 here so that we realign the heading indicator to our magnetic compass. Okay, landing indicators are green. Let's just check where our landing indicators are. Landing lights, yeah, okay, they were our landing lights. And we test them there. Okay, parking brake release. I don't quite want to do that yet. Fuel quantity. Let's just check our fuel quantities. Fuel quantities. Yeah, 60 pound or 60 gallons there. And 70 gallons on the other side. So, since we have an offset, let's turn that to our right-hand tank. Fuel selectors, desired tank. Mixture set on rich. And brakes test on initial roll. Okay, so let's just test our brakes now. Let's just release the brakes, give it a little bit of beans, and brakes are fine. Okay, so it said idle just under 1,000, so that's what I'm going to try and bring the aircraft to. Let's just pop outside. And we have a fantastic Texan T-6 ready for takeoff. So let's just run to the back. Heidi likes riding with the top down. Don't ask me why. She's just a stylish gal. That's just what she does. Okay. Let's bring run up. Okay, hydraulic system check. So we're going to lower flaps and check for normal hydraulic pressure. Cylinder head temps. That's it, hydraulic pressure. I knew it was somewhere. So I'm learning as well. Position degrees. Okay. So flaps roll down. Let's bring them up. And you can see, yeah. You can see as I continue to manipulate the flaps, the pressure goes down, but then it slowly increases again to its normal level. So that's okay. Okay, throttles 1600 RPM. Whoop. And you see how the engine jumped there? I actually increased the throttle, but it just went, whoop, a little jump. Okay, 1600 RPM. Prop cycle. There we go. Okay, carb heat. Check for manifold pressure drop. Let's just bring that down slightly again. Okay, there's our cylinder head temperatures. Our carburetor heat, though. I think that is our carb heat. But anyway. Throttle to field manifold pressure. 2000 RPM. See that little jump? Yep, and even though... Is that a throttle problem of mine? That's a strange aircraft. Strange aircraft. Okay. Engine instruments checked. They're in the green. That's fine. That's all good. Magnetos check. Watch the RPM. Let's just bring it up to 15. Small drop. Small drop again. There we go. Cruise mixture. Check at 1900. Pull mixture back slowly. Note a slight increase. Then 100%, 100 RPM decrease. Okay, let's bring it up to 1900. Note a slight increase, and then a drop. Yep, that's good. So we noted the increase of the RPM and then the decrease. Throttle back, idle 400 to 500 RPM. Yeah, you see how my throttle is vibrating there? That's my throttle quadrant. Whoa! Sorry. So that's what happens when you idle too low. It basically kills you. Before takeoff, controls free and correct. Instruments and switches have been checked. Fuel selector is on the fullest tank. Mixture is rich. Primer is locked. See? Primer is locked. Prop full increase. Trim tab 11 o'clock and rudder 2 o'clock. Okay, that's 11 o'clock, so the arrow is pointing upwards, or the arrow right there is pointing in the 11 o'clock position. Flaps up, engine gauges checked. Takeoff. Okay, so taxiing in this aircraft. Because of the bad forwards visibility, and before I run away with myself at 1500 RPM, I'll bring the aircraft back down to about 1000, but without the engine stalling, because this is very touchy throttle and RPM. The engine does like to backfire quite a lot. Because of the bad visibility forward, it's an aircraft that you do zigzags with, so very kind of warbirdish. Let's just check here. We're all good. I've got the stick right back in my gut as I'm just turning here. And the thing, taxiing is not easy in this aircraft. The second that you pull the brakes out, it seems to just want to skyrocket all over the tarmac, so you have to be careful. Okay, so throttle 32 or 36 inches of manifold, pressure on takeoff, rotate at 80 and 90 mile an hour, positive climb check, gear up, flaps up, climb out at 110, verify safe landing area. Okay, that's pretty simple. Let's increase manifold pressure to, see the way it jumps there, and then it runs away with itself. Let's just sit back. And we're off. Positive rate. Gear up. Okay, just climbing slowly now. Let's just bring that back so we can hear ourselves for a second. Let's just do a little bit of trimming. Trimming is not as fine as a 172. You find that you hit the trim tab and it reacts immediately to your input. So let's just bring our manifold pressure back off the red line into about 30 inches, and then whoop. And then let's bring our RPM back off the red line into the green, so RPM about 1800. So let's just baby the engine slightly. Let's not go too crazy at the moment. Okay, so that was the takeoff. Climb 2000 RPM at 30 inches. Okay, let's do that. Let's increase our RPM to 2000 and about 30 inches of manifold, which is actually what we're on right now, which is fine. Okay, so advanced throttle to maintain 30, over 3,000 feet, closed canopy and lean mixture for smoother operation. Engine gauges check. Let's just check. We are all still in the green. The oil pressure is ever so slightly on the high end, but that's still within limits. And in the cruise, well, we'll worry about the cruise in a minute. Yes. Let's go back to the back seat, see what this looks like. Let's just close our canopy. because it's starting to get cold. Canada is a little colder this time of year. See the vibrations in the canopy? You can really see that the engine is vibrating the whole aircraft. That is very beautiful. I could live in the back seat of the T6. That's a lovely view. You just can't see forwards, and of course with a pilot right there, their head is literally right in your way. So, fat chance trying to trying to have any forward visibility when landing. But you know, there we go. Let's go back to the front. So I'm just climbing at a steady 95 knots. Let's see what actually the speed looks like whenever we change that to miles per hour. Okay, that's actually 107 miles an hour, which is fine. And our checklist said, yeah, climb at 110. So we're climbing nicely. This is where we should be. Beautiful, beautiful aircraft. Let's just close the canopy now. We're going past 3,000 feet. Oh. Okay, so the checklist said after 3,000 feet, close canopy, lean mixture for smoother operation. Let's just bring our volume up so we can hear the mixture or the engine. So about there, you could hear the engine. You could hear as I leaned the engine, it blipped down slightly, and I brought it up off of the lean peak, so it's just rich of peak. And I love the fact that you can do that in an A2A AccuSim aircraft. And I just kind of blipped through the canopy strut there. Ah. So this kind of aircraft, let's just sit and talk about this aircraft now. Let's just enjoy the outside. So this aircraft was an Air Force, an American Air Force trainer from kind of mid-World War II onwards. And a lot of the history of what I'm about to kind of summarize, you can find in the manual. So definitely, if you're interested in what I'm about to say, go read the manual. At the beginning of World War II, America realized that it really needed to beef up its aviation training for combat pilots, especially as new modern aircraft were coming out and being put into service, such as the P-40, P-47 Thunderbolt, the P-51 Mustang, especially, things like that. As they were designing the aircraft, they were also intending for it to be sold to other nations, such as Britain and Canada, Australia, that kind of thing. So they were intending this as an allied trainer. And the thing about combat training in those days was, pre-World War II, the technology was very different from mid to late World War II. As aircraft, as fighters started coming in that were much more advanced than the training aircraft, it meant that when pilots were being trained, they were being trained on like World War I era training aircraft, biplanes with fixed wing, biplanes with fixed undercarriage and no canopy, and then they were being put from that into the advanced aircraft such as Spitfires, Hurricanes, P-40s, P-47s, P-51s, blah blah blah. And the gap between their training and the aircraft that they were actually supposed to be flying was getting wider and wider and wider as World War II came on. So America's answer, basically, was the Texan T-6. It was also called the AT-6. It was a number of, quite a lot of variants of this aircraft were designed and sent out to the different training fields in America and the Allied training fields in general. And of course, and reading the history, and this is all in the manual again, as I say, in the manual they talked about how Germany and Japan, initially they had good training and they had very high quality pilots who had experience in combat in, you know, Manchuria for the Japanese, and of course Spain, the Spanish Civil War before World War II for the German pilots. So they initially started out with very high quality pilots, and the Allies, in comparison, were quite lacking in that. But what the Allies did was they were pumping out high quality pilots. They were giving them good training on aircraft like the T-6, and if pilots died on the front line, they were being replaced by well-trained pilots, you know, to fill their shoes. But the Axis powers didn't really have this concept as much. In the beginning of the war, all of the good quality pilots did quite well, but as the war dragged on, Germany was replacing their pilots with new, fresh recruits that didn't have the best quality training compared to Allied pilots who'd been trained in things such as the T-6. And the T-6 for its time was considered a kind of cutting-edge trainer. And if you look at the way the T-6 is designed, you can see the influence in other aircraft. So basically, if you flew the T-6 as a trainer, a lot of the frontline combat planes that they would be going into were quite familiar, were quite similar to the T-6. So they really did nail their training program, and that was one of the massive factors in the air war between the Allied and the Axis powers. So that's just a little blurb I found very interesting. I'm just kind of cruising around up here. So now that we've kind of cruised around and we've realized that we're not dead, let's just throw this thing around a little bit and then come in for a landing. So approach and landing. Okay, so I have actually not read any documentation on stalls or spins in this thing, so this is very much a first look, but let's go and do something stupid. Okay, so pulling negative G's there, and the engine did not cut out, which is a testament to the fuel tanks being designed so that the aircraft could function. Oh! So that the aircraft could function in negative G situation. So actually let's go in for a stall now. Let's put our propeller maximum. We're up at 6,000 feet now, so we have enough room. Let's just put our throttle all the way forwards. Let's just see what a stall feels like in this aircraft. Let's just turn the 80 miles an hour. Stall is... There we go. You listen, you hear that? I've got my elevator all the way back. And look at that. That is very stable. I mean, I'm stalling right now. Let's just look at my vertical speed indicator. That is very stable. I turned up the volume there so you could hear the stall over the wings. So let's just build up some speed, and let's go for a more aggressive stall this time. So 160 miles an hour. Let's hit 180 miles an hour and try and go up for a hammerhead. I've heard they're particularly hard. So let's see. Let's just push through 180 miles an hour. And let's bring it up. At 60, rudder full left. And down we come. That was nice. The engine cut out there momentarily. Okay, let's do a sharp left-hand pull. You can see the right wing stalled there first and dragged us out of the bank. Let's just level ourselves out again. And let's do a right hand. Full elevator and... Wow, this thing really does not want to take the control out of my hand. And I still wouldn't call this a proper stall. See how easy you can get out of that. Alright, let's do a dive. Let's get back. Let's just... Ooh! It's a bit gut-wrenching, but there you go. And the aircraft is... now stalling? Come on. So, it does stall, but it doesn't feel like an uncontrollable. Like, it doesn't get into a spin. It's not spinning. It's stalling, but not spinning. You can hear... Let's just turn up the volume again, and I'll shut up so you can listen to the AcuSim physics. This thing. Stable. I mean, I know when I call an aircraft stable, that is a relative term. Stable in relation to what other kind of aircraft are we talking? But, I mean, you can't throw a Cessna around like this. Like... I am throwing it... You can hear the wind. Let's just make sure I don't crash here. But you can hear the wind on the surfaces. It's quite loud. You can hear the wind buffeting off of the surfaces when you get close to a stall. But it's still not... It's not a proper spin. Here we go. Let's just really, really try to make this thing spin. Okay, we're stalling right now. Slight, yep. There was a slight drop there on the left wing. That was a little bit more severe than it was before. Let's just try stalling the aircraft with with the flaps down. And you can see there's a bit more vibration in the back here than there is in the front, actually. That's weird. But okay. So I'm going to climb up a bit. And as we get slower and slower, we'll dump flaps. And we'll see how that affects things here. 100 knots, or 100 miles an hour. Let's just dump all the flaps and pull up. And again, that really is not doing much at all. Look how stable that is. So as a training aircraft, I mean, this is forgiving. This is a lot more forgiving than I thought it would be. To be honest, I thought this was going to be pretty much like the warbirds of the time, which are a lot less forgiving. A lot more powerful, faster, heavier, less forgiving. The margins are tighter. But then again, of course, being a training aircraft, and you're going to put recruits into this, you know, you're going to want to make sure they don't all die. So I guess that makes sense. And I have no idea where the airfield is, so I will meet you guys back when I get onto final approach. Okay guys, as you can see, the airfield is just off to our 1 o'clock. But I thought I would just come back to you here. As you can see, our cylinder head temperatures are quite hot. Our T's and P's are still in the green, that's fine. But you can select... Is it this one here? No. You can select ram air or sheltered air for the cylinder heads. But I read that in the manual, but I don't exactly know where that control is going to be. Oh, there we go. Yes, free air and carb mix. Let's see what that does. Now I've selected carb mix, I think that's... yeah. Carb mix is going to actually increase the cylinder head temperatures, I feel. No, maybe not. Because free air is going to be the cold air from outside, and carb air is going to be the air that is warmed through the next to the carburetor, or through the carburetor. So 220, 219, 218. Okay, that's coming down now, so I must be wrong. That is definitely not the first time I am wrong. But let's just circle round, and let's get in a position to start thinking about landing here. And let's see what this aircraft feels like on approach. So, approach and landing, autopilot is off, reduce speed to 130 miles an hour, and I swapped over my speed indicator to miles an hour, so that's going to be accurate now. Carb is cold. Carb needs to be cold. So I did swap it onto carb, and it is cooling down. So gear down and locked. Fuel selector should be on the fullest tank. Let's just see how much is in this tank. 53 gallons versus 60. So let's put that back to the left tank. And at 130 the gear needs to come down. There is the airfield. So what I'm going to do, I'm just trimming. And now the engine is getting quieter. Let's just bring up our volume a little. There is the airfield. We have a 10 knot headwind right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an orbital, just to get myself set up. There's no one else in the air at the moment, so that's not a problem. Okay, so gear can come down now. Gear is down. Okay. Mixture rich. Prop control 2000 RPM. So basically full propeller. Downwind. Our downwind leg should be 120. So let's just say we're on a downwind leg now. That's roughly 120. Base should be 110 and final should be 90. Flaps as required. So let's just look. There is the airfield. Got to watch our altitude as well. There's lots of trees, and we don't particularly like trees. 100 miles an hour. That's a little bit slow. You can listen to the engine. You can hear the engine kind of stutter or stammer every now and then. Whenever I change the throttle, you can hear it, which is interesting. I'm going to have to learn about this aircraft. Okay, so about 110, we are 110 on base, which is what we're on right now, which is fine, and then 90 in the final. Verified gear is down and locked. Our two lights are green, which is good. Okay, so point 11 says stick full back, land 3 point, approximately 65 miles an hour indicated on the touchdown. So let's turn final now. Okay, final approach. Let's bring the throttle back and start thinking about some flaps. Okay, first stage of flaps. Beautiful engine sounds. You can really hear that radial. Beautifully throaty. I don't see those flaps coming down. There, the flaps. Okay. Okay, this is where my visibility in a forward position is going to be quite restricted. So this is going to be interesting. Okay, we're currently about 90 miles an hour, which is fine. Just trimming there, and there is the runway just off our nose. Just trying to sit as high as I possibly can. You can imagine T6 pilots just kind of straining upwards just so they can see 80 knots or 80 miles an hour. 80 miles an hour should be fine. Flaps are down fully, so we could be a little bit faster. Just manipulating the trim. Down we come. And I'm slightly offset, which is fine. That's 80 miles an hour. A little bit last minute trimming, and we're just going to flatten her out and try and plant her down at 65. Whoop. Little drop there. 80 still. A little bit jumpy. Down she comes. Whoop. It wasn't quite a 3-point landing, I feel, but that's a start. Oh, tail wheel. Let's just apply some brakes. Bring the flaps up and just apply some differential braking. Let's bring back my checklist. Look what the after landing flaps up, trim neutral, prop increased to full. Prop is increased to full. That is correct. If you smash the tail wheel down a little bit too much, sparks come off the end of the aircraft because you scrape the aircraft against the bottom. But there we are. That was fun, and I'm gonna have. I know that I'm gonna have a lot of fun in this aircraft. And this aircraft, I feel, is going to encourage me to fly the A2A Warbirds a lot more now. Let's just make sure I don't dip below. Let's just make a nice turn. It's very easy to ground loop. I was doing a lot of ground loops yesterday. Okay. Just keep my stick back in my gut. And give ourselves some a little bit of aerodynamic braking, and we'll do a little bit of weaving so that we can see ahead of us, because this is the kind of aircraft with a big radial nose. Needs a bit of forward vision. But as I say, I mean, I've got the throttle pretty idle right now. It's below. I'd say I got my throttle about 20%, and my RPM's at 1,000 RPM, and this thing just loves to roll. It will literally roll away from you. I am hitting the brakes. I'm tapping the brakes every now and then, just to keep this thing in check, because it will just roll away from you. I can't imagine taking this thing out on VATSIM. It would be crazy. I think I've got to do a number of flights. I'll probably do a number of flights before I take this out on VATSIM. But this is definitely the aircraft I would do that with. I would definitely take this out on VATSIM. It has radios and everything. It actually has a GPS as well. I will show that to you whenever we come to a full stop. But also another thing the manual says is the wings of the T6 are very much very similar. Actually, the design of the wings are very similar to the DC-2 and DC-3, the Douglas, the transport. And actually, if you look in the manual, you'll see they show the two designs, and it's quite similar. Right, let's see what it looks like from the back. Yeah, taxiing from the back. Look how bumpy this. Look how the vibrations are. That's cool. Let's just spin it around to a position there and apply the brakes. Let's put the okay, so shutdown radios, transponder off, turn avionics off, throttle 1450 right there, prop full decrease for 20 seconds, and we have a clock here. 1, 2. And then soon we'll put the mixture off. There we go. Okay, but we still have a few things to do. Mixture off, magnetos off, master switch off. All electronic switches need to go off, which they are. That is good. Circuit breakers are all still good. Fuel selector off. Controls locked. And chock and tie downs. There we go. Let's just get back in. Open up our things. Let's just see what that looks like. Okay. Oil clean kit. Pitot cover. Empty plane. Boom. So, ladies and gents, that is hopefully a quick overview of the basics, the very basics, just scratch the surface of what the T6 has to offer by A2A Simulations. Definitely a lot of potential. I like how they have very systematically gone through the list of training aircraft there are in the world, and they're very kind of systematically knocking through the list of very popular training aircraft. So if you're into taking your sims seriously, A2A is the place for you. And the cool thing is as they go on to develop other aircraft, you can train on an aircraft such as this as you would in real life, and then go on to fly a Warbird. Or if you go down the GA line, I can imagine A2A will probably be introducing a lot more GA aircraft off the back of their Cessna 172 and Piper Cherokee. Yeah, it is just very logical, a very logical way of building a line of simulator add-ons. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, folks, and that has been the T6. I will be releasing a lot more T6 related content. I'm going to be taking this thing into IFR conditions, IMC. I'm going to be seeing how the radials work, how yeah, I'm just going to be digging into it and having fun. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and also a C-172 video should be coming soon as well, and that's going to be an IFR kind of you know, minimum minimum visibility landing type thing in Notodden in Norway with the offset localizer to runway 12, so that's going to be really fun as well. I am fairly busy these days. Easter season is going to be pretty busy, but I thought I would jump on and get this released for you guys. Just a quick refresh. New video on the channel, and great new quality sim. I cannot say enough about this. It is really going to be fun. You know that feeling when you get your hands on a new product and you're like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a lot of fun. This aircraft is going to really make me want to jump backwards into the A2A Warbirds and the B377 Strata cruiser with its big radial engines and stuff. It's going to be fun. So thank you very much again for watching, and I will catch you next time.